The San Francisco 49ers just signed another wide receiver to this already stacked 90-man roster, waiving a cornerback, another position group that we are sneaky good at, kind of stacked in my opinion. In addition to that, news around Trent Williams presents an interesting problem that I had not considered until a great question in the comments got me thinking. In this video, we're breaking down the newest signing, the newest release, and I'm responding to you, a very interesting question posted in the comment section. Thank you to all of you, by the way, who post in the comment section. You guys' opinions are awesome. I love reading them, hearing them. They really do shape my way of thinking about the San Francisco 49ers. If you're new here, by the way, I'm Nate. We talk to San Francisco 49ers every day on this channel. If you don't want to miss out on all the action, make sure you hit that subscribe button. But the news is this: the San Francisco 49ers just signed Frank Darby, wide receiver, to a 1-year contract. And I'm going to break it all down here, and we're going to ask the most important question in a second. But let me ask you first, what's your take on this signing, as well as the signing of Tay Martin? Why are the 49ers picking up additional wide receivers, loading up the 90-man roster with talent? Is this about beefing up the battle for the practice squad? Is this about filling gaps with injuries, rests, and holdouts? What's your take, guys? I look forward to seeing your comments on that in a few. I'm going to tell you mine in just a second, but let's talk about that question. We'll see if we can answer it. Why did the San Francisco 49ers just sign wide receiver Frank Darby? Now, I'm going to agree wholeheartedly with David Bonilla and David Lombardi on this one, but let's look at what Bonilla said. First, kind of a little background. The Atlanta Falcons selected Darby, 6'1", 200, out of Arizona State in the 6th round in 2021. Yes, another wide receiver from Arizona State, another player from Arizona State. Darby appeared in only one game with the Falcons last season and did not register a catch. His contract expired on January 7th. Darby, 26 years old, has caught 2 passes for 29 yards in 16 game appearances over his 3 NFL seasons. Not exactly the stats you'd want to hear when you hear we have a new signing, but let's keep going. This is where it gets interesting. David Bonilla here. Despite requesting a trade, wide receiver Brandon Ayuk reported to training camp but has not been practicing with the team, as you know, as he awaits a contract extension. Rookie wideout Ricky Pearsall started training camp on the non-football injury list due to a hamstring injury, and Tay Martin has missed the past 2 practices. Rookie Jacob Cowing missed Friday's session for undisclosed reasons. So the obvious question there is, because there's kind of a couple possibilities here. Why did the San Francisco 49ers sign Frank Darby? Why did they sign Tay Martin? What are they doing? Let me start here. I don't think this is to bolster the practice squad. We are so deep at wide receiver that we will be placing some talent on the practice squad no matter what, for sure, no doubt. This feels like a we need bodies kind of situation, right? One, you've got guys on what feels like a bit of an aggressive rest schedule, or 2, you've got guys that are experiencing muscle soreness and you don't want to push it. Either way, you need bodies. You need more wide receivers out there. We have a serious QB2 battle that's going on right now, and it's mostly been Dobbs and Allen splitting those reps. Tanner Mordecai is there, of course. He's hanging around, but so far not blasting off the page or anything like that. So yeah, I think that the San Francisco 49ers are continuing to add wide receivers to the team, partially because of Kyle Shanahan's bias, I imagine. Loves a wide receiver. He does. And hates a wide receiver, too, to be totally fair. But I think you get what my point is. It seems like, and this is what David Lombardi was saying, too, earlier, I hope I'm not misrepresenting him, that this feels like a situation where you just need more bodies out there. You need more guys out there to get this training camp to be really valuable. Interesting that the 49ers cut a cornerback, though. We've got to talk about that, too, because if you look at the transaction, by the way, I have it right here. There it is. 49ers signed Frank Darby and let Keemon Hall go. And the quarterback room is pretty wild, right? I mean, they brought in Rock Ya-Sin, Chase Lucas, Isaac Yadam. They also, of course, still have Mooney, Demo, Ambry Thomas, Darrell Luter Jr. I mean, there's some dudes out there that are balling out. This is a really talented roster. A lot of folks in the offseason saying this roster doesn't have the names, the recognizable names that makes everybody get all excited, but the cornerbacks are just insane. So I'm really excited about that. I think that I want to say it was, who was it? Niners Wire that had originally kind of put out that 90-man roster before OTAs, and Keemon Hall was right on the bottom there. So it just makes sense to me. I'm not exactly sure what value that you're going to get out of Frank Darby here outside of training camp, that's probably where it's going to happen. But comment, let me know what you think about that. Now, while we're talking about commenting, I got this great comment that the more I thought about it, the more I liked it. From Eric Danielson 470, are we not concerned about Trent Williams holding out? He's probably looking for guaranteed money, which wouldn't be smart for the Niners since he's already 36. Now, this is kind of two pieces. The first one is, are we concerned? And my initial feeling to the question and what I replied was, no, I'm not concerned, because Trent Williams is going to be on this team. He's way too valuable to the 49ers to not have him on this team. They're going to get it worked out, right? So long term, not at all. I'm not at all concerned. But I'm going to get back to why maybe there actually is some concern there that we should discuss, and I'm looking forward to seeing your thoughts in the comments section, and I hope Eric Danielson watches this video and can kind of add to his thoughts about what's concerning him. But the second point that he made here is also something worth considering. How much guaranteed money do you want to give to a 36-year-old player who's also signed through, if I remember correctly, his 38-year-old season? So he's going to be playing for a few more years. He's run out of guaranteed money, and he wants a restructure. He wants that guaranteed money. Presumably, that seems to be what the ask is. Now, the 49ers give him some guaranteed money, because I don't think they get a deal done otherwise. I mean, that's what he's looking for, right? So they're going to give him some guaranteed money. He talked about wanting a restructure in the offseason, and when it happened, it was this one-off thing, and it sort of felt like he wanted additional years at the time. That's kind of how I interpreted it. But looking back, it really is about the guaranteed money. So good call here. That was absolutely right, and I know some other folks commented that earlier as well. Is it wrong to give a 36-year-old guaranteed money? Not if you think he's going to continue to produce and continue to play. His injuries are they're starting maybe to stack up a little, I guess. But if he plays, 15 games this season, did he play 15 last year in the regular season? Or was it 14? I can't remember if he sat out 2 or 3 now. Now I'm blanking. But you have to let me know in the comments. I'm sure you know. The point is, I don't have any problem with giving the guy guaranteed money. He's the top talent. He deserves the money. And it's a deal of all the deals that are, really he and Brandon Ayuk are the big ones that you're looking at right now. It's the one that needs to get done. It absolutely needs to get done. Absolutely. But in terms of going back to your first question, are we concerned about it? I wasn't really concerned. I didn't really have any concerns because in my mind, it's going to get done, and so we're going to be fine. He's going to be on the field. Chris Furster talked about this a little bit, though, and I think it was David Bonilla who did this article as well, made some interesting points. All right, so let's look at what Chris Furster had to say, because this is where, sorry, I already forgot your name. I just said Eric makes a good point. And now okay, thank goodness. I was like, here we go. Offensive line coach and run game coordinator Chris Furster spoke with reporters on Friday and was asked how soon Williams would need to start practicing to be ready for the 49ers Week 1 game against the New York Jets. As soon as possible, he said, which, of course, that you'd expect a coach to say that. What's the coach going to say? We don't really care, right? Now, in my mind, you're like, well, dude, he's old. He's already getting a lot of rest as it is. He doesn't need a number of reps that some of these other guys like Jaylen Moore, who's starting left tackle right now for training camp, need. They need those reps. He doesn't need those reps, right? But listen to Furster's point of view. Firstly, the reps right now are valuable, okay? My thing for him for years has been, yes, as a 14-year vet, any player I've had that gets up in years, they still need work. Everybody does, every position. Great basketball players still go out and shoot free throws. They still practice. You still have to practice. You just have to limit the amount of exposures you give them and the amount of pounding that their body takes, and that's what we try to do. So basically saying there's a difference between getting extra days off and not taking as many reps, but being out there. Not to mention, and I think this is in the article somewhere, I can't remember off the top of my head, but not to mention the fact that he's not just out there missing some reps. He's missing that moment in the season where it's no pads, and this is where you're getting those reps in kind of a more comfortable scenario. Unfortunately, it's always been a problem for Jaylen Moore. This is where it gets really interesting. He hasn't had a chance to compete at other positions because he's always filled in for Trent this time of year. Oh, there are layers to this, guys. This is why I love the comment. Thank you, Eric, for the comment, because the layers to this in terms of what it means for another player on this team, Jaylen Moore, is pretty important here. If he's always filling in at left tackle, can't get reps practicing and fighting for positions, that's, as we've talked about many times on this channel, that's a twofold effect. You have his personal development. Jaylen Moore's personal development is hindered, but then you also have a hindrance to the position that he would be challenging for, the pressure he'd be putting on somebody else on this roster, right? Let's just say in a perfect world, he's fighting for Colton McKivit's job at right tackle. Even if he doesn't get it, the pressure he puts on McKivitz to make him better is also super important. For Christian McCaffrey, every player virtually believes this, but Christian McCaffrey talked recently this week about how important it is to have Jordan Mason out there taking reps and killing it out there on the training field. So you need that pressure. You need those people pushing you. Even if you're the best in the league, Christian McCaffrey talking here, even if you're the best in the league, you need people pushing you, right? Trying to make you better, trying to be better than you. So, yeah, Eric, you make a good point. Should we be concerned a little bit that this deal isn't done? Maybe. Shoot, maybe. Maybe you're right. Because you know what? He shows up. Trent, let's say he gets a deal done on Monday. He shows up to training camp. He's there on the field, padded practice, and either he's not out there in padded practice because he's behind, or he's out there and the reps are getting more serious. And he's out there having to kind of go at it. So this is going to be really interesting to see how it shakes out for the 49ers. I think they're going to get a deal done quickly. I originally told Eric, I'm not worried for another 2 weeks. If he doesn't have a deal signed by the time we get to that first Tennessee Titans preseason game, if we didn't have a deal signed then I'm going to start getting worried. But now, man, now I'm thinking, shoot, what would 2 more weeks of Jaylen Moore missing out on that competition? What would that do to him? What would that do to the rest of the offensive line? Interesting points. Interesting points from Chris Furster here, who obviously, has kind of the most important opinion on the matter. Not that you care about mine. Let me know what you think in the comments. Look forward to joining you there as always. I'm just so excited for this season. I'm going to be taking you all the way through it. It's going to be so much fun. Join me on the journey. What a time to be alive.